Hey there, friends. So, I've been talking in recent videos about Coffee Shop's network. Now, part of that is the hypertunes on LCDs. In other words, if you go through the blog, Coffee Shop's network, it's a lot about creating an ambience with um, reveries on screen. They don't have to have sound unless you plug in. Like if you have headphones and you want to listen to the soundtrack that goes with the LCDs, there are ways to do that, but it doesn't have to. If you want quiet, what's on LCDs doesn't have to make any noise, right? So, like what you see on the screen here, that could be part of a hypertune, which I explain those elsewhere. Because when I tell people about this arcade game approach to charitable giving, they're like, well, couldn't you do that from home and so on? And it's not an either or business, but I do want to start out with an image of an actual place that you go to play these special games where when you win you get to donate to a cause. And this doesn't shut down gambling. You can still go do regular, if you win the money goes to you kind of places. It's not like you can't do both. And this kind of place, they may be so eager to get data that they'll give you um, free time to play the game, and there will be donations made, right? Because they just want to study some of the patterns, study some of the games. Like there's a lot of pilot opportunities here, perhaps. So, what I'm doing is using the calculator of tomorrow, what I've been going through in recent videos, and suggesting you might want to not use your graphing calculator anymore in order to keep up with circuit designs for motherboard Earth, which is what I'm sharing here. This idea that, okay, what are we looking at? Some faux data, fake tech giant DZX code, fast food chain FFC, and hotel chain HHC. And already, just to say profits is kind of like not realistic because profits when, right? It's always an interval. You're measuring an income flow. So I do go to the work to remind people what name tuples are and recreate the data as name tuples and add a little bit of statistical noise to it. And then suggest that actually we need to save this data per year. We would call this a per year profit. And this is all just kind of an opening because I don't stay at this level. And I don't really wire up the big companies here with the coffee shops network in code. I don't show that yet, but this is a work in progress. I'm showing the generic syntax of SQL and insert command, select commands. We're using SQLite, and you know how almost every, like Microsoft Access has a tutorial, right? Sometimes called Westwind or something. It's like a mock business where you can trace all the data and how things are working through data tables and so on. So this is a mock coffee shops network. And what we're doing is we're valving our charitable giving through these large operations in aggregate where lots of players are thinking hard about how they want to donate. So we're training people in philanthropy here. And I'm thinking this is a healthy thing. It's good to have to do some research and also update your profile based on who you've been giving money to. That sort of says something about you. So it's a way to define your character. So here we're starting to play the game here. Here we have actual Hall of Fame with certain players having played certain games. And we have some info on the different games and some info on the causes and on the players. So players, causes, games, Hall of Fame, right? So I'm keeping aggregate data as users win games and commit the money to causes. That creates a record in a table called Hall of Fame. And now I've got this whole second part to this, which I will not pursue in exhaustive detail here on this video, right? This is, you don't have to like go to college to follow this video. I just wanted to say I'm I'm doing behind the scenes a lot of the creating of the data, turning it into data tables if necessary, and then creating simulations where we make players, we make causes, we make games, and then we can talk people through simulations. There's the shop, the idea of a place where you go to play these games, and the shops maintain a list of what causes they support. So it's at the shop level that I have print games and print causes. Like you walk into a shop, there's a set number of games, a selection. Think of a jukebox and think of picking one to play. And depending how you do, you get to donate your winnings to some cause. So you're the player here, and I've got your code and how you come into the database. And I update your profile, update the Hall of Fame as you start winning and donating, right? Winning and donating, on and on. I've got a couple simulations here. So all the source code's there, but when I sort of just run it through for the benefit of like an elevator talk, I don't necessarily want to scroll through all that source code I just showed you. So I just get away with importing it, initializing the data, and then running simulation 2, which doesn't stop to prompt you. Simulation 1 actually waits for you to type some things in, like which cause and which game. It pretends you're the player, and it asks you which game do you want to play, and then you get your winnings. And there's always winnings of some, more or less, but never less than you commit. So you commit X, they're always going to get at least X. So yeah, there are a lot of unanswered questions here. It looks like the whole thing's figured out. We've got it in code. We could just slap some databases on the back and be done with it. But of course, this is just a rudimentary sketch. It's not much more than a quick drawing on the back of an envelope in some ways. Like we don't have actual cryptocurrency flowing through here yet. And I do call it currency. I don't make an assumption, because you may be implementing this who knows where, right? The blueprints and the source code. I'll get this all on GitHub eventually. But right now we're just at the idea level, which is a reservoir, you could say, of funding is percolating outwards to charity. And these can be sophisticated little nonprofits, right? They could have a Bismo in the field. They could be doing astronomy, physics. You might be looking for some scientific results. And you may want a profile that shows you're the kind of person who's smart about where you send your winnings, right? And it could be that as people upvote how you donate, you get more to donate. People start donating their donations to you because they like the way you disperse funds. But that's possible. But what we're doing here is we're just getting some mythical companies in the background to donate their goodwill to this machine that is really a training machine for any one of us to become more skilled at philanthropy. It's like a playground sandbox for philanthropists, and it's not just a simulation ultimately. Here it is, because it's just blueprints, but where we're moving is in the direction of implementation. All right, that's good for now. Talk to you soon.